Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast.
Today we're looking at First Majestic Silver.
As usual, before we start, subscribe, like, and comment to this video to support the show. And if there's a specific company you want us to look into, leave it in the comments below.
So let's get into the analysis. The core story here is just a massive financial inflection. We're seeing numbers that really signal a clear operational turnaround.
Okay, an inflection. Let's unpack this. What does that turnaround look like in hard numbers?
Well, you look at Q3 2025, right? Revenue hit a record $285.1 million.
Wow. And what's the year-over-year on that?
It's an increase of over 95%.
Almost double. That's an explosive top-line inflection.
It is, and it means the company is squarely on track to exceed $1 billion in annual revenue for 2025.
So what's driving that? Is it just higher prices or is there more to it?
It's two things, really. They definitely got a boost from substantially higher realized silver prices, up about 24%.
Okay, that helps.
But the real story is massive volume growth. Silver equivalent production in Q3 was up somewhere between 39 and 45% year over year.
That's huge.
They hit a record 3.9 million ounces of silver alone.
So the integration of the Los Gatos mine must really be paying off.
Exactly. That plus improvements at their San Dimas operation.
And this is where it gets really interesting for me. The shift from loss to actual profit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen this decisive swing from a net loss a year ago to strong net earnings. We're talking $56.6 million in Q2 2025.
But earnings can be noisy. What about cash?
Even better, free cash flow. FCF reached a record $98.8 million in Q3.
$98.8 million.
Yeah, that is approximately 3 times what it was in the prior year.
3 times. That kind of FCF growth suggests they have huge flexibility. So what about the strategic moves management is making with that?
And this is where I think management is showing some real discipline.
Okay.
They sold the Del Toro mine. They saw it as a low return asset, Yeah.
So they're pruning the portfolio, not just growing for growth's sake.
Exactly. They sold it for up to $60 million. This kind of portfolio optimization lets them channel capital into their higher grade projects.
Like Los Gatos and exploration.
Precisely. It creates what you might call a powerful operational and execution mode.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, financial health, I mean, how robust is the balance sheet here?
It's extremely strong. They reported record liquidity of nearly $584 million.
And that includes undrawn credit, right?
It does, which gives them a huge cushion. Their debt-to-equity ratio is also very, very low, around 0.07.
Almost no leverage.
Practically none. And they also opportunistically raised $350 million via convertible notes.
It was a savvy move.
Very savvy. It extends their capital at attractive terms without immediate dilution risk. It just gives them strategic firepower for future growth or maybe even M&A.
Right. And that financial strength, that low leverage and massive liquidity, that's key for a commodity producer that has to deal with so much volatility. It lets them withstand the swings.
It's the bedrock of the whole thesis, really.
And the market is clearly rewarding them for it.
Oh, absolutely. The market agrees with the fundamentals. The stock price performance has been, well, exceptional.
Up over 200% in the last year, I saw, recently hitting a 52-week high around 1792.
That's incredible, yeah.
So what stands out to you about the flow, the technicals?
Well, technically, the price is holding well above both its 50-day and its 200-day moving averages.
Which is pretty much the textbook definition of a sustainable market.
It is. And we're also seeing high call options volume, about 40% above average.
Okay, so that suggests significant speculative demand on the upside. The momentum crowd is here.
They are. And institutional money is starting to flow in, right?
It is, yeah. Institutional ownership is sitting around 27%, and it's increasing.
You can see major funds are actively adding shares.
And the analysts are playing catch-up.
They are. They've responded by increasing their average price targets pretty significantly in late 2025, which, reinforces the positive sentiment around all these operational and strategic shifts.
Okay, so that's the bull case. It's a strong one. But now we have to look at the other side. This is a high beta silver name.
It is, and that means high volatility is the main risk, period.
And we saw that play out pretty recently. What exactly happened with the metal price?
Well, silver prices experienced a really sharp correction. They dropped significantly in a single day after hitting what was an all-time high of $83.60 per ounce in December 2025.
And experts were already warning that those highs were getting a bit frothy.
They were warning that those prices had reached unsustainable levels.
So what's the fundamental issue with silver longer term, beyond just a short-term correction?
While you have institutional buying providing some near-term support,
Yeah.
the long-term outlook faces some challenges. Industrial and jewelry demand is starting to cool off because of these elevated prices. On top of that, mine output and recycling are expected to rise.
In response to the high prices.
Exactly. And all that could potentially shrink the supply deficit.
And that deficit was the big story last year.
A huge story. It was 230 million ounces in 2025. The projections are for that to shrink to less than 60 million ounces by 2027.
So that could put a cap on price gains.
It absolutely could, which raises a really important question about company-specific risks. I mean, we saw a recent earnings miss.
Right, that's the second key risk here, execution. Q3 2025 revenue and EPS, they missed analyst expectations by a pretty wide margin.
They did, and it just underscores the cost headwinds and the complexities of integrating these new assets.
Even though revenue grew 95% year over year.
Right. The miss shows that the company's operating under intense scrutiny and very, very high expectations.
So the stock trades at a high valuation, which means any execution stumbles or any commodity price pullbacks?
They're going to be magnified.
Instantly. Precisely. But the mitigating factor here is their financial cushion, right?
That's it. It comes back to the balance sheet. The low leverage and the huge liquidity that provides the resilience they need against these cyclical and execution risks.
And management is guiding toward cost reductions as the Los Tecos integration wraps up.
They are. Significant cost reductions and synergies. That's the promise.
Okay, so looking forward then, what are the next 3 months going to bring that could move the stock price?
The most critical event, without a doubt, is the release of Q4 and full year 2025 results.
And what are investors looking for there?
Confirmation that the revenue target of over $1 billion was hit, along with continued free cash flow expansion.
And operationally.
Updates on the Los Gatos integration. Those are major drivers. And the plan to increase throughput to 4,000 tons per day in the second half of 2026.
Any positive exploration results could also move the needle.
For sure, especially from San Dimas or Los Gatos.
Yeah.
And then on the macro front, if expectations for interest rate cuts continue, or if geopolitical risk stays elevated, that just reinforces the safe haven demand for silver.
And that would benefit this stock disproportionately because of its high leverage to the white metal.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean? We have a company that has positioned itself for long-term, compounding with high-quality assets and a really strong balance sheet. But investors absolutely must accept that significant commodity price volatility.
I think what's fascinating here is that despite the massive run-up, over 200%, the company's strategic capital allocation suggests they have the financial flexibility for continued M&A.
So they could be a consolidator.
They're positioned as a potential consolidator in the silver space. That optionality for more scale and synergy, that could really underpin the long-term thesis over the next, say, 12 to 24 months.
If you want more insights into high-growth, high-torque names like this one, make sure to subscribe to Investing Talk Podcast. We'll be back soon with more analysis.